Shadow stretches across the pitch on the final game of this sevens competition, and Fiji immediately don't send it 10, but it's taken by New Zealand in any case. And here's a chance early on to see what New Zealand can do. And Koroi moves it out to Scott Curry, the co-captain, who gives it on to Nanae Saturo, and then Regan Ware waiting out wide, and Curry once again. New Zealand now looking to do the double after victory in the women's sevens. Mickelson shovels it on, huge pass out to Regan Ware, and there is Koroi, and Koroi just chips it forward, trying to get his captain Scott Curry onto it, who does just that, and Nanae Saturo is there, and Nanae Saturo is through. He has the first score, New Zealand on the board.
Well, that's a big play. Koroi opting to put the kick in. A man of Fijian heritage plays against his fellow country people. It brings out a different type of persona, but Scott Curry picks it up, gets that right hand offload, and this man on screen, just 18 years old, imagine that, Commonwealth Games final in his first series season. The Nanae Saturo left his contract from Rugby League, picked up by the All Black Sevens, and it was a matter of time before this man progresses through the ranks. He is a formidable rugby player.
And the conversion from Vilimoni Koroi, one of a, say there are a number of players of Fijian origin playing against Fiji here for New Zealand. 7-0 to good. A couple of minutes gone, and the restart is sent with some distance. That's a good take, and actually that worked. I'm not sure by chance or by design from Eroni Sau. Usually with Fijians it's by design. Scrum though to New Zealand.
Big pumped up New Zealand performance thus far. You've got to do something different against Fiji. We saw South Africa try and target that breakdown, make everything competitive. This New Zealand team, again, equally as physical as the South Africans, but with a little bit of kicking in behind, a little bit of change of play. You have to do something different against these Olympic gold medalists.
Actually, Fiji have lost a little bit of power, as you were pointing out before, with Kunatani injured.
Let's go.
Not that they're underpowered at all. Look at the size of the referee compared to both sets of forwards. New Zealand getting on the front foot once again, and Nanae Saturo gives it out. And Molia, and then the switch of direction. And Koroi trying to make his way through. Ball goes loose, but goes backwards, still with New Zealand. On it goes to Tim Mickelson. Mickelson, the tall figure, gives it out wide to Dixon. Dixon is punched back in the tackle, though. Still able to get that ball away, and Scott Curry shifts it again. And the Fijian tackle's flying up, but it just opens the door to New Zealand to try an attack through. Regan Ware steps inside one, in two, and Regan Ware, wonderful balance towards the line he goes, still going. Regan Ware, what a score! In a great team, a bit of individual flair still stands out. Regan Ware brings New Zealand's second try, and Fiji are giving themselves a lot to do.
Well, the sledgehammering shot here misses the nail, doesn't he? Sal goes for the big shot, Ware rides it, lovely left foot step on the inside, and this is what he's about. Hot stepping in the middle, that's a big score for the young man, just 23 years old. Again, another one of these next generation of All Black Sevens players, which is a Brit pretty frightening to see. Pumped him on the sideline, rightly so. New Zealand putting a big statement out there to Fiji in this opening stanza of the game.
And with a try under the post, the conversion is but a formality. And New Zealand out to a very, very impressive lead. Finals in sevens used to be 10 minutes each way, but they've abandoned that down to the usual 7. And so it's a bit of a sprint now, and here is Jerry Tuai. And a bit of a barreling run from Mothanathangi, but the spill and the contact and things just not going the way of the Islanders just now. A good bit of friction as well. Healthy debate going on.
It's a really important part against the Fijians. Often if you rattle them, if you get under their skin a little bit, they think less about the offloads and more about trying to smash you. So anytime you can get them off their game, you're going to benefit from it. Mothin Thangi, one of the best at offloading, so if he's thinking about people winding him up, you take his mind away from the flair he possesses.
Fine. Set.
Quickly fed out by Karoy, and he takes it on the rebound again, gives out the pass to Regan Ware. A few in the crowd thought that might have been forward, but it's fine. And then Mickelson moves it on again, and here is Dixon. Little step from Nanae Saturo, going nowhere there, and well, now Fiji are doing themselves no favours at all here. As you were talking about there, they're getting a bit rattled and going looking for a bit of confrontation, but they may be in trouble here.
Step away, please. Step away.
Well, Dixon is a hard man. He is not one to milk it. Sal gets the throw, gets thrown himself. Atananais throws it back in. And Mothin Thangi comes in with some serious issues afterwards. Said before, Dixon wound him up beforehand. He's thinking less about the rugby and more about getting his next shot in. He did not care about the ball. That's a shoulder to the face.
I'm not saying it's a cop-out by the referee, but it would be such a controversial decision to send somebody off in the final of the Commonwealth Games Sevens, but that could have been a red.
Tackle, yellow card.
And the terminology he used there was very clear. He said initial contact was to the chest. It was not. Initial contact was Mothin Thangi's left shoulder to Sam Dixon's jaw, which defines a red card, not a yellow card. So Damon Murphy, I understand why he's done that. The pressure's on, but in terms of the law,
no arm tackle.
That's an incorrect decision.
That should have been a red. But Fiji, it just goes to show and stress just how, as you say, rattled they are a little bit. They're going looking for the wrong thing. Clark Laidlaw of the famous Laidlaw clan. He is Roy Laidlaw's son, the great Scottish scrum half, so Greg Laidlaw's cousin, and has become the first non-New Zealander to coach a New Zealand side of any description.
It seems rare that they go the other way. It's usually Southern Hemisphere to Northern.
Exactly, but working again here for New Zealand, and Mickelson rolling up towards the try line. Fiji in all sorts of trouble. They're a man down at the moment, and they're 2 tries down, and they may shortly be 3. Nanae Saturo bounces off one challenge and now has support out wide, and it should be a race to the corner, and then the little cut in field, and it will be a score. And Regan Ware, well,
slightly controversial again. He did not put that ball down cleanly.
100%. Anthony, you got me there, please?
Yes, I do.
Well, in real time it looked dubious.
We'll check, try, no try.
He gets the step, comes across. Once again looking for that big shoulder hit. Oh, he loses it from his forearm, but does he manage to regain it in his palm?
I think he does.
He does indeed. That is very, very lucky from the young man.
It is a knock-on, Murph, no try.
See?
Okay, knock on, white ball.
Correct.
Okay, no drama.
I don't, well, you know, it's a very experienced TMO, but it did look as if he'd regathered control with his palm, as you said, and he got it down. So that's a big decision.
It is indeed. Doesn't have to be under pressure like most people cite. It could be the very tip of your finger, whatever. If that ball is in a form of control, it's a try. I've seen those given 99% of the time, conversely 1%, perhaps not in a gold medal Commonwealth final.
Well, perhaps should have been a try for New Zealand there, perhaps should have been a sending off for Fiji as well. So, well, Fiji, they're 2 tries down, they're a man down, but they're getting a couple of decisions going their way. But they have to try and attack from deep as the hooter sounds, and as it sounds, New Zealand stripped that ball, so still with that man advantage, they may still have that try to end the first half. Little step again, and on it goes through Curry, out wide to Vilimoni Karoy. Karoy into touch though, and that will end the first half. A first half of so many talking points, and 2 tries to New Zealand. They still have that man advantage, they have the 2 try advantage. They are moving towards the gold medal, but Fiji still have a way back into this game. New Zealand 14-0 up at the break.
Let's go, boys.
Well, New Zealand controlled that first half. 2 tries to show for their efforts. Actually could have been further clear. Can Fiji make them pay. They have a knock-on advantage, but they have the ball in any case, so advantage will be very quickly over. And what a charging run this is from Bakurunabili. And on it goes to Drani Sinukula, and Drani Sinukula for the corner, can't quite get there. Great covering tackle from Scott Curry. And Curry has a little word for Drani Sinukula as well after the touch was found.
Well, Drani Sinukula flying out wide, what a tackle. Scott Curry, he's had some big plays in that tournament, none most so bigger than that. You're stopping Fiji's momentum just a minute into this second half with a most wonderful cover tackle. He could not live up to that C next to his name more. What a captain he is.
Fiji back to a full complement. Mothanathangi is back on after his sin binning. And there's a great step and out into the open. Molia. And a call to leave, and it was a wise call as well, as the Fijian on-rushing player looked for that ball. And Regan Ware now. Fiji quick to close him down, but New Zealand suddenly threatening. Good hit coming in though, and it earns Fiji the ball, and it might be a counter. The game opening up. Play on, says the referee, as Sal got back to his feet. And Fiji just lobbing it around now. And players tiring on both sides. Kunabula has support. Bakurunabili, but secured by Mickelson. The turnover at penalty because Fiji tried to retake it with an illegal hand on the ground.
Well, it's very rare you ever see a tired Fijian with ball in hand. New Zealanders on their haunches. They're putting everything into it. Got to mention also, this time last week, the Fijian team were ripping apart Hong Kong. That effort, that exertion seen there, perhaps taking its toll now, who knows. But most definitely you can see this New Zealand team putting in more effort, getting the support there quicker. Everything about this Fiji team is looking lethargic, and that is a very, very rare statement.
Subs being made, as you might expect. Both sets of players have put in a bit of a shift at the start of the second half. You can put players off and bring them back on again. At 5 replacements in total allowed.
Time back on. When you're ready, mate. Yep.
Sam Dixon watching on from the sidelines. Andrew Newstab, the man with ball in hand, he's fresh on the field.
It's exactly what New Zealand want. Penalty, set piece, walk to the line out, take your time throwing the ball in. It's all about keeping the ball against Fiji. They'll look for the turnover, they'll target breakdowns, but they still have those moments of frustration if they don't have the ball.
Fiji desperate to get going. New Zealand just slowing things down, as they're perfectly entitled to go. Cries of Fiji from the crowd. Good take by Scott Curry. And then a nice pick-up by Sione Molia. And again, Fiji swarm around him, but trying to hold him up now. And Fiji may get the ball here at the scrum, which they do.
And he joined and then pulled out.
Well, it looked like a big cuddle there, but this is what happens. It stays as a tackle until one of the New Zealanders joins it, and that could be a finger on the side of the maul. Then it becomes a case of competition for the ball in the air, at which point it's turned over. Good play by the Fijians.
Time back on.
And at this point in the game, with just 4 minutes left, you talk about writing scripts. Fiji are the reason why there's a rubber on the end of a pencil. They are so dramatic late in games.
Bind. Holding. Set. Step back. Holding. And put the ball. Holding. Hold.
Fed in by Jerry Tuai. Ball pings out loose, and Jerry Tuai has to just scoop it up and then spilled, and there are a few too many mistakes from Fiji. Nasila Sila with the mistake.
Time.
Very uncharacteristic now, these little flicks of play. Usually a sign that they're relaxed, that they're into the game. The Sila Sila off Tuai, one of the best combinations in World Sevens. You're never going to see him stressed, never going to see him worry. But the time is very most definitely clicking down on them.
Mark's here. Come over.
So Fatemo Ravovo coming on for Fiji as well in the scrum cap. He has a box of tricks to play with as well.
Crouch!
And that personifies the chilled out Fijian on the sideline. Most likely going to come back on as well. Back on a Billy.
So Newstub gives. Curry moves it, and then that wonderful step once again. And Malia is doing some damage here. And Malia trying to fend off the attentions of Jerry Tuwai into the final 3 minutes. And time is now firmly against Fiji. But New Zealand will feel they need one more. Fiji offside. Penalty advantage to New Zealand, so they try a little kick through and they'll come back for that penalty, and it all eats away at that clock.
30 seconds you're allowed for this penalty, and I expect them to be using 29.9 of it. Take time for the tap, rest of it you're slowing it down, perhaps even line out, kick to the corner. Another 20 seconds, arguing where the point of play is. So clever from New Zealand. They're killing the game, but it's how you beat Fiji.
Well, in Commonwealth Games terms, New Zealand have been kings. They have won 4 of the 5 that have been played. Only South Africa's victory in Glasgow 4 years ago denting their progress. That's the only game they have lost. And they are favourites at the moment to win it one more time.
Would not be surprised to see a driving maul here either.
Into the final 2 minutes. Curry takes it down, and here it comes, called by Rob Vickerman, taken down by Fiji. Penalty coming to New Zealand, and that may be that. Still time enough for Fiji to score, but again, New Zealand will take all the time they're entitled to here.
It's such clever play. I mean, it's not the most flowing game of rugby sevens. The wider world watching this perhaps not seeing what Fiji are really truly capable of, but if you have to beat them, you have one simple fact about Fiji: you will not stop their magic, but you have to contain it. New Zealand here, as South Africa did in the semi, have contained it. Clever, clever tactical play. Once again, they'll keep it tight, waste every single second. They could even score again from a driving line out here.
Well practiced at the line out. New Zealand, will Fiji challenge? Can they steal it? Curry rises imperiously, takes it down, little spill, didn't go forward, says the referee, knocked backwards. Fiji throwing everything into the challenges, but it opens up the space, and Malia is there, can't quite get to that try line, within 5 metres though. Fiji offside again, another penalty coming. This will be the end of Fiji. New Zealand have that ball and the penalty is theirs, and they'll come back for that penalty now. 30 seconds to go. Fiji are done. New Zealand are heading for gold, and in comes the assistant referee.
Listen to me, please. That's 3 repeat infringements.
As things get
stifling Black's momentum.
Heated again.
This is your last warning. If there's another infringement this year, it'll be a yellow card.
So there's a knock on this.
There's no knock on. The ball was dropped straight down.
And feel the frustrations. Couple of decisions perhaps with the knock-ons. Jerry Tuwai would never question the referee unless he believed it.
Subs first.
I mean, incredible final in many different ways, not as enthralling as you used to see it on the 7 series, most definitely. But this is about a gold medal. It's about winning a Commonwealth Games. New Zealand previously lost only 1 game in Commonwealth Games history. And for 4 years, they've got to live with that. Losing the gold to South Africa in Glasgow hit them hard.
Well, that'll be met with some boos from the crowd, because it doesn't happen often in sevens, but it's going to be a shot at goal, because they know the deed is done, the clock is down, and they'll take all the time allowed for this kick. And this has been an utterly clinical performance from New Zealand. The man with the final touch, Andrew Newstub, rather hoiks it off a post. Out it goes as the hooter sounds, and the Olympic champions give way to New Zealand. No first gold at the Commonwealth Games for Fiji.